Hello, everyone. My name is Una King. My pronouns are she, her, and I am so incredibly grateful to you for being here in the room and also for tuning in from around the world. And let's begin by acknowledging the precarious state of our world and the unimaginable grief enveloping those impacted by terrorism, war, and conflict in Israel and Palestine. I hope we also can think of those elsewhere who suffer the same fate as Jewish and Palestinian communities. That is, erasure due to identity. Identity, it's this one word that spans so much. It tells us who we are, if we belong, who we trust, who we other, and that othering of identity groups different to our own, it starts so innocuously, doesn't it? Usually unconsciously through stereotypes, which lead to scapegoats. And whole communities can come to believe that they can only succeed if another group fails. And that's when a backlash can take hold. So, for example, we're here today to discuss DEI. I hope you've worked out what that means, diversity, equity, and inclusion. But in America, that backlash around identity has even led to vocal calls to criminalize DEI, our discussion topic today. Imagine that, to criminalize equity, to kill a mockingbird. It's really hard to work out where the hope is. And you can even sometimes, it's not just hard, you can even sometimes think it's thoughtless, right? To think about hope when so many people face utter devastation. But I do have hope. In fact, the other day I got a message on LinkedIn from someone who said, "Thank you so much for your optimism. It means so much." And he and others, I've had the same message quite often, but people are saying in DEI, those DEI practitioners, they are exhausted and they actually really need hope. And it was a really good reality check, because to be honest, I had written a totally doom-laden introduction for this summit, because you know just how hard things are in the world. Our hearts are broken. But here's the thing, and I feel it really strongly, those of us with the privilege to sit here in this room or to tune in from the relative comfort of our homes, of our offices, where we face no imminent threat of violence, well, you know what? I actually feel it is our duty to have hope and to use that hope to take the practical steps that build communities and organizations where identity does not determine opportunity. And here's also something I didn't think I'd say during my 20 years as a politician in a national parliament. I actually see the most hope when I look at the corporate sector when it takes its obligations around equity seriously. I see more hope there than in gridlocked and divisive politics. So when the corporate sector approaches equity collaboratively, often in public-private partnerships with nonprofits and government agencies, because fundamentally equity is collective work. It never happens without empathy or systems change or accountability. But above all else, if you look back through history, do you know the thing that real social progress always requires, always above all else? It requires a social movement. A movement of people from many sides, not just one, who are committed to rewriting the narrative, retelling the story. But right now, some people are too scared to even say the word equity. Well, I hope this summit will inspire you. And if you don't know where to start or what action to take, we have a report for that. It's called the ACT report. ACT, yeah, woo! You could even download it now if you can remember ACT. It is actreport.com, and these are its 3 most important takeaways. 1, if you're a leader, and I hope everyone here listening to this, I hope, sees themselves as a leader, you cannot delegate DEI, because DEI is about values. You do not outsource your values, okay? Number 2, you cannot separate your DEI plan from your business plan, because separate is never equal. They must be one and the same. And number 3, we only make real progress, sustainable progress, together by being transparent, accountable, courageous, and agreeing standards collectively. Because here's the thing I want everyone to really remember about DEI. Whether we like it or not, we're going to face a backlash. Whether we're brave or not, we're going to face a backlash. If we cower in the corner, the backlash becomes permanent. Fringe extremists become the majority. In other words, culture wars can lead to real wars. You start at one end of the spectrum, stereotyping communities. You don't think it's the worst thing in the world, but then you notice further down that spectrum, you legislate against particular identity groups, as the LGBTQ+ and trans community knows here and around the world. And before you know it, you are locking people up just for existing. You are halfway down the path to erasure. So, in case you don't realize quite how important DEI work is, or you don't realize how important your support of DEI work is, please think again and understand the criticality of your work, of your partnership, of your support. And I do want to say to those DEI practitioners, I know a lot will be tuning in, you may be exhausted, but please find the audacity to be optimistic too. And I can attest, it is possible to be exhausted and optimistic at the same time. Yay! So let's make the most of our time together and depart with not just some hope, but also some practical answers to really complex challenges. Because I tell you, it's all very well reading about it in reports, right? But when you try and do it on the ground in businesses and corporations, it can be really difficult. So thank you. We understand that. We thank you for getting your priorities right and being here today. And let's get to work, right? And on that note, we've got an incredible lineup of speakers. And we've also had a special Snapchat lens created just for this summit. Yeah, I've been at Snap 4 years. Surely I must be able to make that work now. You can as well. Point your cameras at the QR codes, whether you're here or at home. We really hope you'll use it, and tag us on your social media using #SnapchatDEI. So, thank you again. And now, please give our first panel of superstar tech DEI leaders a huge round of applause as they join me on stage. Thank you.